Hey everybody, welcome back to Museum Grack Reads. My name is Elizabeth, and today we're talking about a book haul. Did I just post a 40+ book unhaul? Yes, I did. Am I about to share 30 books that have come into my home since? Yeah, I am. But you know what? The math on that works out pretty well because I got 10 books to spare and pretty proud of that actually. Go me. Obviously, I'm in a little bit of denial, but let's get into it. First, we're gonna do a really quick rundown of all of the books that I got at the San Antonio Book Festival. Since there's already a video for this that goes into more detail, since I did a vlog for my time at the book festival, I'm gonna go ahead and link that up in the card, wherever that ends up being. First up, we have The Haunting of Alejandra by V. Castro and Aliens Vasquez, also by V. Castro. Kiss Me Catalina by Priscilla Oliveras. Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese. Zealot by Reza Aslan. New Dragon City by Mari Mascusi. Andre and Sante Were Here by Johnny Garzavilla. And Waco by John Gwynn. Like I said, lots more of information available in that vlog. Next, look at these beautiful books. Do you want to take a guess on what they are before I share? I love them so. This is the special Owlcrate edition of the Wayfarer series. So we have beautiful signed holographic editions of The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, A Closed and Common Orbit, The Record of a Spaceborne Few, and The Galaxy and the Ground Within. These actually came in just in time for me to be able to read this for my final book in the series instead of the paperback version. This is my first purchase ever from Owlcrate, and let me tell you, I am so not disappointed. Look at how beautiful these are. I'm so very fortunate to have received them. Money well spent as far as I'm concerned. This is a book series that I know I'm going to be turning back to, one that I constantly recommend to folks, and they're so stunning. And I'm so sad that the series is over. We've got two books that I picked up for the Silly Goose Book Club, which is hosted by Noelle from Noelle 7 Pages. And first, we have Bandit Queens by Perini Schroff. This I've started but haven't finished, and yes, the live show's already happened. I'm terrible. This is a story about a young wife in a village who has an abusive husband who leaves one day, but the entire village thinks that she killed him. They're kind of okay with it. And then women in the village come to her to see if she'll help them with their husband problems. Super fun. Really excited to finish this one. Next, we have Scorched Grace by Margot Dwahi. This is for June's book club with the live show happening in early July. And yours truly was invited to be co-host for this one. I'm so excited. So this is more mystery style. Takes place in New Orleans at St. Sebastian, which frankly has a song from a musical called Nine stuck in my head ever since Noelle introduced this book to me.
For those of us at St. Sebastian, no longer young and not yet old.
And this school starts experiencing an arson spree. We're following a nun who is a queer former punk rocker as she tries to get to the bottom of what on earth is happening at St. Sebastian.
I remember St. Sebastian with a memory most unkind.
One thing you need to know about me is I go hard for Nnedi Okorafor. I have almost finished her entire back catalog. There's only a handful of books left for me to read, including one that I picked up at my local recently, and that's Anga. This is a middle grade. Don't know anything about it. Frankly, I haven't read the synopsis. It's written by Nnedi Okorafor. I know I'm going to enjoy it. I know it follows a young boy, and literally that's it. That's all I need to know. Nnedi can do no wrong in my book, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I did end up with 2 Owlcrate books this year so far, mostly because there was something in the items that I was interested in, or frankly forgot to cancel one. So first we have Midnight Strike by Zeba Shanaz. I really don't know anything about this. It's got some really lovely gilded pages. I really love when they do a naked cover where there's no dust cover on it. I think that this is a really top tier experience for a special edition. Obviously, I also loved it with my Wayfarer series. Way can be pretty hit or miss for me, but maybe I will give it a try, or maybe it'll be in my next haul. Who knows? Then we have Silver in the Bone. This is by Alexandra Bracken. It's still in its plastic wrap. Frankly, I don't want to take it out until I'm ready to read it. I've been seeing this one everywhere. Haven't been seeing many people react to it or respond to it. Also, don't know much about it. Even though this does have a dust jacket on it, I do have to say there's some striking similarities between these two back-to-back special edition covers, including the giant quote on the back. Oops. Sometimes it just makes it feel a little less special. The special editions is all I'm saying. Then we have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Everybody knows what this is about. This was my In Real Life Book Club's pick for the month. I've just started it. Really intriguing so far, so we'll see how we end up liking it and if I continue on. But be proud of me. I only picked up book 1 instead of buying the entire series at once. Growth. Next, we have The Last Watch by J.S. Dews. This is book 1 in her debut duology. I just finished her newest book called Rubicon on audio and had such a great time with it. She writes in a really compelling manner that drives you through the story really beautifully, almost cinematically. I've heard so many wonderful things about this book over the years, but most recently, Emily over at My Chaotic Shelf on Instagram has been just singing the praises of this book. So I trust her, and I trust everybody who's been telling me that I should have picked this up a while ago. So I'm actually a big comic girly. I've been reading Marvel comics for decades. My comfort character for the last 20 years has been the Scarlet Witch, which I know is a terrible comfort character to have, but I love her. And if you ever need a recommendation on Scarlet Witch reading material, I'm your girl. But while I am a big comic reader, I'm not a big DC fan, which is why this is really surprising that I have picked up a DC Far Sector, which is a Green Lantern graphic novel, but it's written by N.K. Jemisin. I'm willing to deal with some Green Lantern for N.K. Jemisin. I'm sorry. Then we have The Chilling Effect by Valerie Valdez. The description on this was really interesting. We've got a cargo hauler with family members on board, and suddenly our main character's sister gets kidnapped by a crime syndicate in space. Somehow she ends up getting linked up with a ship full of psychic cats, and chaos ensues. Honestly, this kind of reminded me of a book that's coming out in June called On Earth as It Is on Television, which had a whole subplot with a cat named Sir Muffmits that absolutely ripped my heart out. So this was 100% up my alley. And look at the cute little cats in their little space helmets. I've never heard of this book. I saw it on the shelf at my local and was sold immediately. Then we have what looks like it might be either a sci-fi thriller or a sci-fi horror, and that's Lokis Ring by Stina Licht. This is the same author who wrote Persepolis Rising. This story revolves around a captain who has received a distress call from an AI that she built and trained, who is trapped in Lokis Ring, which is an alien-built artificial planet, and something's going down there. People are getting sick, stuff is going crazy, and there are horrors at every turn. So while this doesn't necessarily look like a horror, the horrors at every turn makes me think that it's going to be at least a little more suspenseful, but I'd had this on my list as something I wanted to read when I saw it back on NetGalley, so excited to see this in paperback and ready to pick it up. So if you can't tell, I do tend to spend a little bit of time at my local bookstore. They also have a cafe there where they make an amazing rose London Fog. They kind of just start making them as soon as I walk in at this point. I'm like Norm at Cheers. It's a problem. But while I was there the other day, one of the employees was like, hey, I have a book you have to read. If you haven't picked it up yet, you need to. She disappeared and came back with The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. And no, I hadn't read it yet. I haven't read the Daevabad trilogy. And I had known that this was a prequel to that. So being the geriatric millennial that I am, who grew up on original Star Wars and was there live when the prequels were coming out, I said, well, I've got to read the original first before I read the prequels. And she very firmly insisted that that was silly and I needed to go ahead and pick it up. And I listened. So thank you, Emily. So as I've shared a little bit, I recently left consulting and I'm moving into a full-time position for the first time since pre-pandemic. And in all of that stress and chaos, I was left unattended in a Target. That's always a dangerous place. But I only ended up with 4 books, so be proud of me. First, we have A Spinster's Guide to Danger and Dukes by Amanda Collins, purchased purely for the title. I know nothing about this, did not read the back. It was amusing to me, so hopefully I enjoy it. Then we have The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is by Stuart Turton. I have to admit, I kept getting this title confused with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, also have not read, but was talking with my friend Sean the other day, and he was raving about this book and compared it to Quantum Leap. And I was sold. I vividly remember as a child when Quantum Leap got moved to a different time slot that was past my bedtime and trying to figure out a way that I could still watch the show from my bedroom without my parents knowing, because I'm a giant nerd. And this happened to be at Target immediately after that conversation, so impulse control, we don't know her. Then, Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. Don't know what this is about, purchased purely on the recommendation of Noelle from Noelle 7 Pages. Then the final Target purchase is Glitterland by Alexis Hall. I've really become a big fan of Alexis Hall and his writing in the last year. This is a re-release of a past title of his with a new cover. I didn't have it yet, so in the cart it went. Okay, 3 books left. Promise, we are almost done. Home stretch. So in celebration of my new job, some very sweet friends from BookTube sent me some gifts from my Amazon wish list. In keeping with our last book, we're going to start with my gift from Sarah's Shelves, which is Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall. This is a Regency era male-male romance where our hero Valentine is set to marry Miss Tarleton, only the proposal doesn't go as planned, and the next morning she has fled to parts unknown. And Valentine has to partner up with her twin brother to rescue her. But maybe he's found out that he was after the wrong Tarleton all along. So this is going to be really fun. I've already started it and having a good time so far. It jumps right into the action. So there's not a lot of getting to know characters before the proposal. You just enter right in at the proposal and hijinks ensue. I really enjoy Alexis Hall's humor. It really tickles my funny bone. I laugh out loud whenever I read his stuff. So thank you so much, Sarah, because this is exactly the kind of thing I need as I'm in the chaos of this big transition, and I really, really appreciate it. Then we have 2 books from the dynamic duo over at the Roomies Digest, and I can pretty much tell you who picked what. So Christine gifted me Always Only You, which is the 2nd book in the Bergman Brothers series by Chloe Leese. I read the first book in this series during the Reindeer Readathon and haven't had a chance to pick up the 2nd one, so I'm really excited to get back with the Bergmans. And then Mo gifted me Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, in which Chloe Brown, who is a computer geek with chronic illness whose life is always planned out, has to turn to her handyman artist neighbor to help her get a little rebellious and break out of her comfort zone and live life a little bit more. At least that's my understanding. I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about the Brown Sisters trilogy. I recently read my first Talia Hibbert, but it was her new YA title, which is escaping me right now. All I know is it's unfairly cute. Had a really good time, but interested in seeing a slightly spicier version of Talia. So thank you, Christine and Mo. I really appreciate this, and I appreciate you guys wanting to help me celebrate. It means a lot. So that's it. 30 books. We did it. We survived. What excited you from this list? Have you read any of them? Do you have an opinion on what I should start with or what I should prioritize? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. I put out content pretty regularly, so if you want to see more from me, go ahead and subscribe. And until next time, bye guys.